Jim Carrey just blew up years of secrecy in one speech, in Paris, entirely in French, every single word. And buried inside that speech, a love confession nobody saw coming. Jim Carrey, the guy who literally built a career out of making his face do things no human face should do, finally, officially confirmed he's in love. And the way he did it? Chef's kiss. Stick with me, because this story has layers. Let's set the scene. It's February 26th, 2026, Paris, France. The 51st Caesar Awards, basically the French Oscars, one of the most prestigious film ceremonies in the world, is in full swing at the legendary L'Olympia venue. Now, Jim Carrey isn't just attending this thing. He's being honored. We're talking the Honorary Caesar, the highest award the French Academy gives out. This year, he's following in the footsteps of none other than Julia Roberts. So the room is packed, the cameras are rolling, the whole world is watching, and Jim Carrey walks up to that microphone. He thanks his daughter, Jane. He thanks his grandson, Jackson, who was there in the room. He delivers a heartfelt tribute to his late father. Beautiful, right? Classic Jim Carrey, deeper than people expect. But here's what you need to know before we get to the love confession, because this is what actually broke the internet first. Jim Carrey delivered his entire acceptance speech in French. Not a line, not just a thank you, the entire thing. This is a man who was born in Canada, built his career in Hollywood, and hadn't made a major public appearance since November 2025. And he shows up in Paris and speaks fluent, emotional, beautiful French for his whole speech. The audience lost it. It went viral within hours. And here's the thing that makes it even more poetic. Jim Carrey has French-Canadian roots. His family heritage traces back to France. So standing in Paris, being honored by France's most prestigious film institution, speaking their language, this wasn't a stunt. This is personal. This was a homecoming. And then inside that French speech, he said something nobody saw coming. And that moment, that's what broke the internet a second time. Here's what you need to understand about Jim Carrey and privacy. This man has been one of Hollywood's biggest stars since the early 90s. We're talking 3 massive comedy hits in 1 year back in 1994 alone. Ace Ventura and Mask, Dumb and Dumber. 1 year. But despite being that famous, despite being that recognizable, literally nobody on earth can watch Jim Carrey walk into a room and not know exactly who he is. He has been fiercely, almost stubbornly private about his romantic life for years. After a series of very public relationships and some deeply personal heartbreaks he's spoken about openly, Jim Carrey just kind of went quiet, went inward, and fans respected that. We didn't push, we didn't pry. So when paparazzi spotted him out in Los Angeles back in February 2022 with a woman the press had never quite placed in his world before, people took note. They were first seen leaving a charity comedy show hosted by Judd Apatow. Who is this person? What's going on? Is this serious? For years after that first sighting, Jim Carrey said absolutely nothing publicly about this woman. Until now. And the question everyone's asking is, why here? Why this moment? Why Paris, of all places? Stick with me, because I think the answer tells us everything. Real quick before we go deeper, I need to know, did you know Jim Carrey was in a relationship? Drop a yes or no in the comments right now, because honestly, most people had no idea. And I think that says a lot about how deliberately he kept this under wraps. Okay. Let's put on our investigator hats, because this is where it gets interesting. Here's what we actually know, and I mean know, not speculate, about this relationship. Pull up the timeline. February 2022, Jim Carrey and a mystery woman are spotted on a night out in Los Angeles. That's our first data point, first confirmed sighting. Now, let me be very clear about her name, because you're going to see it spelled 3 different ways across the internet, and it's already confusing people. Her real name is Min Ah. The press and fans know her by her nickname, Minzy, and in his Caesar speech, Jim Carrey called her Mina. That's his personal term of endearment for her. Same woman, 3 versions of the same name. Min Ah, Minzy,
Mina. Got it? Good. Moving on. She's a Los Angeles-based actress and artist. She's been working on creative projects in entertainment and has shared performance pieces and artistic content across various platforms. She is not someone chasing the spotlight. In fact, everything we know about her suggests the opposite. And that makes a lot of sense when you think about Jim Carrey's journey over the past decade. This is a man who publicly stepped back from Hollywood, who talked openly about existential questions, about the nature of identity, about how fame can hollow you out if you're not careful. He's done paintings, he's written, he's explored creativity for creativity's sake rather than for box office returns. Minzy fits into that world. She's an artist, she's creative, she's not performing celebrity, she's living life. And Jim Carrey, standing on that stage at the Caesar Awards with his daughter and grandson watching, chose that moment to say this woman is part of my life, officially, publicly, permanently. Now, there's one more thing about this story that nobody is really talking about, and it involves why the Caesar Awards specifically, why Paris specifically, might be the perfect place for this announcement. Because there's something poetic happening here that goes deeper than just a celebrity love reveal. Here's the context that makes this moment even bigger on multiple levels. First, Jim Carrey's roots. His family's French-Canadian. He grew up in a household where French was part of the cultural fabric. So when he stood in Paris and delivered his entire acceptance speech in French, preparing it specifically for this night, that wasn't a party trick. That was a man returning to something ancestral, something that lives in him. The French audience felt that, and that's why the room reacted the way it did. Second, the honorary Caesar itself. This isn't just a participation trophy for famous people. It's a recognition by the French film establishment, arguably the most artistically rigorous film culture on the planet, that your body of work has meaningfully contributed to the art of cinema. So Jim Carrey, the guy mainstream Hollywood pigeonholed as the rubbery-faced comedy guy, is being honored by the French Academy, France, which has always taken his dramatic work more seriously than American audiences did. The Truman Show, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Man on the Moon, films that showed a depth of craft that critics are still analyzing decades later. So Jim Carrey is standing in Paris, a city that truly sees him as an artist, a place tied to his own heritage, being celebrated at the highest level, speaking the language of his ancestors, surrounded by his family. And in that moment, feeling seen and honored and whole and home, he introduced the woman he loves to the world. Look, celebrity relationships come and go, and normally I'm not one to over-romanticize these things, but there's something genuinely moving about this particular story when you look at the full picture. Jim Carrey is 64 years old. He has been through very public personal losses. He's spoken honestly about depression, about the cost of fame, about finding meaning beyond the performance. And somewhere in the middle of all of that, quietly, privately, he found a person, an artist, someone who clearly didn't need his fame and didn't want his spotlight. We don't know exactly when their story began. We only know they were first spotted together in early 2022. He kept that out of the public eye, not because he was ashamed, not because it wasn't serious, because he's learned, the hard way probably, that the things most worth having are the things worth protecting. And then, at the moment of his greatest professional honor, in the city of his ancestors, speaking their language, with his daughter and grandson beside him, he let us in. Just a little, just enough. Thank you to my sublime companion, Mina. I love you, Mina. Said in French, in Paris, in front of the world. That's not a PR move, folks. That's a man who's genuinely happy. And honestly, after everything Jim Carrey has been through, good for him. So here's my final question for you today, and I really want to see your answers in the comments. Do you think Jim Carrey will start appearing publicly with Minzy now that he's officially confirmed the relationship? Or was this a one-time acknowledgement said in French, in Paris, and he goes right back to keeping things private? I've got a feeling I know what's going to happen, but I want to hear your take first. That's everything we know about Jim Carrey's big Paris love reveal, delivered entirely in French, straight from the heart, at one of the most prestigious award ceremonies in the world. And honestly, it's one of the most genuinely sweet celebrity stories I've covered in a while. If you're new here, subscribe. We drop celebrity news, breakdowns from analysis multiple times a week, and we do not miss the details other channels skip. Hit the notification bell so you're always first.